we created the HME Woman of the Year Award to honor women in our industry who have made significant contributions. And believe me, there are a large number of women in the HME industry who have made major contributions, and their impact has been substantial. Women play an enormous role in America's healthcare system, including healthcare at home, medical equipment, and assistive technology, which allows the frail, the elderly, the disabled, and those suffering from chronic health conditions the dignity to stay in their home and the freedom to live an active, quality life. Too often, the significant role of women, their accomplishments, and their importance has been underappreciated and under-recognized. Equality of opportunity is a pillar of the American dream, and celebrating accomplished female leaders is consistent with that ideal. It is important to pause once in a while and recognize excellence, to recognize extraordinary people. And we do that today with the Woman of the Year program. I would be remiss if I did not recognize the more than 700 exceptional women who work at VGM. I'm extremely proud of our team at VGM, including the many women in leadership and key contributor roles at our employee-owned company. Being recognized as a finalist for the HME Woman of the Year Award is a very high bar, requiring vision, intellect, grit, insight, hard work, and leadership. Our 4 finalists today are so very deserving of the honor and recognition they are receiving. They join approximately 20 other women in HME who have previously been honored as Women of the Year finalists to form a cohort of leaders, role models, and trailblazers who have accomplished so much, who have showed us the way, and to whom we all owe a debt of gratitude. Thanks for celebrating with us today.
Good morning and welcome to the 2022 HME Woman of the Year Awards. I'm Krista Meehey with the VGM Group, and I'm thrilled to be your host for our event today. Our selection committee this year had a very tough job of reviewing the more than 50 nominations we received for incredibly accomplished women throughout the home medical equipment industry. I'm very pleased to introduce you to our 2022 HME Woman of the Year Award finalists. They are Sherry Krug, Vice President of Business Development with Benson's Medical Equipment and Supplies in Detroit, Michigan. Good morning, Sherry.
Good morning.
Next, we have Dalia Morales, ATP, Director of Compliance and Complex Rehab Technology at RESP Med in El Paso, Texas. Good morning.
Good morning, everybody.
And next we have Sheila Roberson, Chief Compliance and Privacy Officer with Great M Healthcare in Phoenix. Good morning.
Good morning, everyone.
And we have Erin Wyman, owner and Chief Executive Officer with Nuns Home Medical Equipment in Rome, New York.
Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you all for being with us this morning. And thank you to all of you online this morning for joining us to celebrate these 4 very accomplished women leaders. Now we'll learn a little more about our 4 finalists.
I have been very involved in the industry for most of my career, and with that involvement, I've became the Medicare subject matter expert for the organization. I'm on different boards of different organizations. I'm happy to share what I've learned because it's all about getting good, positive patient outcomes.
Patient care always comes first, and as long as we remember that, we do not fail. There is no way that the community will not support another provider as long as they're advocating for patients' health care. So the value that I found in advocating is bringing awareness.
I think the pandemic gave us an opportunity to show the rest of the world how important what we do really is, and we took that opportunity to make sure that we were here for our local community, our local healthcare systems.
A personal story that helped me become extremely passionate about the industry. My children and I took care of their father when he was dying at home, and I knew the business very well. I think my passion for the industry really increased with seeing what an impact it actually makes when it's you at home with that patient.
I highly believe in advocating for the industry. It brings up a level of professionalism to the industry. It helps our patients stay at home and have better outcomes.
The most important impact I've had is looking at our workflows, making sense out of them, simplifying them, helping the people that are best at what they do what they do best.
Things are ever changing. They always have been since I started in this business, whether it was competitive bidding, payer cuts, staffing changes, the pandemic. But if you keep a positive mindset and focus on the opportunities to come, we've always had success that way.
The most proudful moment that I have had is being able to give access to independence. Was particularly speaking of a child, 11-year-old child with muscular dystrophy. We were able to provide him with a power wheelchair. Seeing him open his arms wide outside has to be one of the proudest moments.
It's extremely humbling. I know amazing women in this industry. To be even considered is just a true honor.
I'm very honored to be a part of that group of nominees and being recognized.
It is a privilege to be nominated in such category with great variety of women.
There are so many deserving women in our industry, and I am truly honored that I was nominated among them to be one of the finalists for HME Woman of the Year.
All right. As you can see, these are truly some impressive women, and I can't wait to hear more from each of them this morning. Now we're going to dive into some real discussion and insights from these four very esteemed ladies. So we're going to start with our first question, and I would love to hear from each of you. First question for this morning is, tell us about one of your strengths, something that you do incredibly well, and how it impacts your organization. And we will start with Sherry.
Great, thanks. I would say one of the things I do well is identifying strategic solutions. I like to simplify things and make them as easy as possible for everyone to understand. I really listen to the team's feedback when I do that, and empower by providing measurements, and then we pivot quickly when we need to. Yeah.
Great, thank you. Dahlia, how about you? A strength that you use?
I would like to believe that one of the strengths that I have and bring into our organization is teaching, which encompasses communication and cross-training individuals amongst departments so that we're all a cohesive team into a patient's positive outcome and understanding our different roles.
Wonderful, thank you. Next, we'll go to Sheila.
Hi. I think that my involvement in the industry really helps me get great information that I can bring back to my company, as well as getting ideas from what other providers do throughout the whole country. So I bring those back, share those with our leadership team. We can evaluate how we want to move forward, what may be a risk to our organization, or better yet, what are the things that we can do to bring a positive outcome to our patient experience.
Excellent. All right. And the last but certainly not least, Erin, tell us about one of your strengths.
I feel that one of my biggest strengths is being adaptable. Change is obviously a constant in our environment. Although it can be hard, the only way we can really thrive in our industry as it is today is to constantly be open-minded to change. Embracing this has helped me to keep the company vitalized and our teams motivated, ever changing, but also ever growing.
Wonderful. Thanks. All right. And we'll dive into some individual questions here. I know that all of us, and I'm sure many of our online viewers today, are doing more hiring than we certainly used to, or at least it feels that way, right? Turnover and resignation and people changing jobs and just something I think that is a reality almost everywhere. So, Dahlia, what are 3 skills or qualities that you look for in potential employees?
3 skills. Hard to narrow it down, but I would like to go first and foremost, dedication and professionalism. I'm usually able to assess this based on employees' past tenure, which shows me how much effort they give it into one position and to make sure that they have that dedication. And that also shows me that professionalism. I would say second would be the passion in healthcare. Previous involvement in healthcare allows me to know that this person is going to has the passion for it. I think all of us in HME know that it takes a real heart to stay dedicated into HME with all the hurdles and curveballs that were thrown almost every quarter. And definitely, but not least, communication skills. The way that a candidate communicates by listening and how they respond can let me know how the inter-office or intra-office communications will be, as well as gives me glimpse as to possible patient insurance interactions that will facilitate job duties for better results with our patients. Definitely those would be the 3. So I would go with professionalism, passion in healthcare, and communication.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Yes, it's hard to assess candidates these days. Those sound like 3 great criteria. All right. Our next question this morning is for Sherry. What are the most important decisions that you make as a leader?
Probably the most important decision is how to keep my most wonderful, brilliant staff happy and engaged. But in DME, we know things come up that are unexpected all the time. Shortage of equipment with a pandemic going, urgent matters. So I think those decisions that are made under pressure, which never goes away, are the most important ones to keep everyone calm, moving in the right direction, making sure our patients are getting taken care of the best we possibly can with the tools that we have.
Wonderful. Thank you. All right. This next one is for Erin. Who is your role model or leadership mentor?
So I would have to say that my mother was my mentor. She ran the business for 35 years. We worked together for 13 of those. Her overall just positivity and ability to see the best in things really resonated with me. She taught me over the years that if you work hard, put that hard work in, put the effort in, and stay true to your ethics, you will be successful.
Wonderful. And such a gift, right? As a mother myself now, I think that would I'm not sure my daughter would like to be in business with me, but I think that's such a wonderful experience for the 2 of you to have a family business as women and be the leaders of the organization. Definitely a little more unique story than what we're typically used to hearing, right? Dad's
Yes.
business and the sons that follow in their footsteps. So I think that's really wonderful.
Thank you.
All right. And the last question in this set here is for Sheila. What has been one of your biggest joys as a leader in the HME industry?
And I am totally amazed at times by the level of care our industry continues to provide despite all the challenges. So it gives me great joy to go out then and do this advocacy work and put our industry out there, making members of Congress and regulatory boards and the general public aware of what we do and how we affect patients' lives and make them better. So that's kind of where I feel my passion is.
Wonderful. Thank you. And we're gonna stick with you, Sheila, and you get to take the next one too. And I know that Sheila shared this morning that the pharmacy board has shown up at her office this morning. So maybe unexpected challenge there to have to handle. What do you believe is the biggest challenge facing our industry today?
I think continuing to provide that quality care that we've all are so passionate about, it's become challenging. I've been in this industry long enough to see the whole life cycle of where we were reimbursed and had less regulatory requirements on us. And we were in patients' homes all the time, and we were continually making sure that they were doing well. And as competitive bids come along and reimbursement cuts have come along, and then some of the regulatory burdens that have been placed on our industry over the last 15 years, it's made it harder to provide that quality care that we used to provide. So I think getting back and showing our value as an industry and how we can affect those patients' lives by keeping them in their home is one of the challenges that we all need to work to overcome.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. Next question this morning is for Erin. How do you rally your team to take on a big project or goal?
So we like to do team challenges. We set our goals and challenge our teams to meet them, big or small, even if they are a little far-fetched. A little friendly competition always goes a long way. It motivates them and it makes it more enjoyable for them in the process.
Love that. All right. And moving on to Sherry, how do you keep your team on track and striving for excellence or achievements?
A lot of it is by example and being dedicated and passionate and caring about our patients and my people seeing me do that. But I like to incentivize on performance. I like people to have skin in the game so that they're rewarded when we reach our goals. Clearly defining what the goals are, helping with that implementation, and then I meet with my leaders weekly, and throughout the week, I'll organically make the agenda with things that have come up throughout that week. So we're touching base. There's no surprises at month end. We kind of know what to expect, and really guiding throughout the month, making sure we touch base.
I love that. And a little skin in the game is always good, right? And I loved what you said about being a role model. People are always watching. I had a conversation this morning where, I needed to remind some people that whether you want them to be or not, people are always watching, right? So making sure that we're doing, the right things as models, I think is important as well.
Mhm.
All right, this next question is for Dahlia. What skills do you use most often in your leadership role, and how have you grown those skills?
I would like to say that the skill that I've utilized the most in my tenure there at ResMed has been communication. Communication has been one that is constantly needed, and that is by communicating with the doctor's office, with your staff, with the patients as to what's going on, what insurance requirements are there placed, and so forth. And communication has grown for me by educating myself into the different roles of every facet of our agency, beginning from the billing aspect, the requirements on the billing aspect of the HME world, to the accounting aspect and the balancing of the cost effectiveness of equipment and reimbursement balance that our industry change, the challenges that we face, but also taking it into the patient care and cross training myself even in the respiratory aspect, so that I understand what a respiratory therapist, what our patient care personnel is seeing out there. And communication has grown in that facet so that I'm able to relay that information to the next party. And again, as I had said before, all become a cohesive team. And that's how I've worked at it the most.
Excellent. Yeah, there's a lot of different segments of our businesses, and they all have to work together. And having an understanding of that goes a long way to make sure that things are moving smoothly and that we all understand why we're doing something, right? There's a lot of times where there's a step in the process. And if I don't understand what value that has later on down the line, I might not do, the best job. So I appreciate that you've really dove into each of those different segments.
Thank you.
All right, we are going to go to Sherry. How do you foster a positive work environment?
So I like an environment where people are happy and they can be themselves. I I work very hard. I want everyone to work hard, but you have to have fun. So we are constantly laughing. It rubs off on each other. It helps us be nicer and better to our patients. So I would say having fun, work hard, but have a lot of fun and laugh as much as you can.
I love that. At VGM, we have some principles that we use to sort of guide our work culture and our behavior. And we used to say work hard, play hard, but we've sort of evolved that to find the fun in your day. So we do really also value that. I think that is important. It makes people want to show up to come to work, and we need those people,
It's
right?
a hard job. Yes.
Yeah. All right. And this question's for Erin. What does work-life balance mean for you? And do you have any tips or tricks to share regarding work-life balance?
So work-life balance is always an ongoing juggling act, but it definitely means being present and available for my team when I'm here at work. I always like to make myself available. I have an open door policy. No matter who it is, I'm happy to sit down with anyone and have a conversation any time of the day. I'll make time for people. And then also for my family when I'm at home. I try to, find the happy medium in both, but be present for them when I'm at home, and to not bring work home with me, and then not bring home to work with me, on a daily basis, kind of keep them as separate as possible.
Yeah. Any tips or tricks, anything that you do that helps you, find some of that balance?
I think just setting the boundaries of, I had my full day at work. Now it's time to be at home and be present, and then vice versa. Just knowing your boundaries, and there's always going to be work to do. You could work 24/7, but you have to take the time to be with your family also.
I love that. In a conversation I was in this morning, one of my coworkers said, you only get 18 summers with your kids before they're hopefully out of the house. And, when you think about it like that, it really puts into perspective, like, I should really be paying attention with the time that we have with our families.
Yes,
Definitely.
the days can be long, but the years, they fly.
Absolutely true.
Yeah.
All right. This question's for Sheila. What resources do you suggest for new leaders, people who are learning management skills or are coming up in your organization, people that you might mentor? What are some things that you suggest for them to do?
In listening to everyone's answers to these questions, I'm like, oh, okay, that's what we want our leaders to be. So I believe in the big picture. Like Dahlia said, I think you don't need to necessarily know every detail, but I think you need to understand how each part of our industry and each segment fits together within your organization, and how that affects the overall care that we provide for our patients. It sometimes is hard to be positive with all the things that are coming at us. And it's like, oh no, another recall. Oh no, another manufacturer who is leaving the industry and we can't get this or that. Sometimes those challenges are hard. So I think you need to work with your leaders to stay positive. I like listening to Ty Bellows' Monday pep talk. I think that's it starts your week off good. It gives you a good positive vibe. So I recommend that to leaders. Also, embracing change, getting anything, podcasts, books, whatever you can about change and how you can embrace it and accept it. The older we get, the more entrenched we sometimes become. And so it gets harder. But I think it's important that we are continually changing, innovating, embracing that new technology. So give them those tools to where they can go out and recognize what that is and how it can better serve our staff as well as our patients.
Wonderful. Thanks. And while we have you all here, I'm going to pose this question to the rest of you. Any leadership resources that any of you would like to throw out? I know this is a thing that our audience always really loves to hear. So another, Sheila mentioned Tibello, but other podcasts or books or resources that any of the rest of you are really into that you recommend to new leaders?
I believe there's a leadership magazine, and that there's a news webscape letter and so forth, but it gives great tips as to how to encourage your staff. And it's a broad, it doesn't really pertain to healthcare, but I think any kind of website and or subscriptions that you can find to positive messages that you can read on and you can relate to your staff. I think it's, as Ms. Sheila said, those are the things that can get your week off started on a positive note and maybe a little bit ready to overcome what will happen that week, because it seems like every week something else is going on.
Yeah, love that. How about either Erin or Sherry? Any other resources or suggestions?
I always suggest for my managers to read like The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle, and possibly just old school How to Win Friends and Influence People. Understanding those basic old school business principles with Dale Carnegie, but then also how do you stay in the moment and don't become so stressed out about what happened before or what could happen tomorrow. We really have to stay present. That's healthy for you. It's healthy for the business. So those are my two favorite that I like to recommend.
Great, thank you. Erin, anything from you?
I like articles. A lot of the times, Harvard Business Review has a lot of good articles, broad, not industry based, but nice leadership articles. And also INC magazine, Inc. magazine has some good articles too that I like to follow.
Yeah, love that. I also am a big fan of the Harvard Business Review, and they actually have I can't remember what the Women in Leadership, Women in Business. They have a Harvard Business Review Women Leadership podcast, and it's really super great. So if you're ever looking for, one of those to listen to in the car while you're driving, maybe the holidays are got a road trip coming up. That's a great one to tune into as well. All right. Back to a question here. Dahlia, what's one thing that you wish that someone had told you during your career journey?
Ooh, I think that's one Cece. I think one thing I wish I knew before entering the wonderful world of HME is how little everybody else knew about it, and how much education needs to be done to everybody relating what HME is, what it encompasses, and the impact it has in patients' lives, healthcare, and longevity of their livelihood, disease prevention. And I mean, I can go on and on and on, but the advocating that has to be done for HME is something I wish I had known on. So maybe I would have studied up a little bit more, but I definitely have had to do it along the way. So that's one thing that was like a cold bucket of water for me, is that I myself, coming from within the healthcare industry, from a doctor's office setting, even in the management level, I did not know how much of an impact HME made until I was part of it. And I saw the real life connection from myself to patient. And that's one of the most surprising things that's got to be for me. Yes.
Yeah. Hard to believe that this has, I've worked here at VGM Group for more than 20 years and been part of the, home medical equipment industry all that time. And it's still shocking to me that there's so little understanding of, how do you think the equipment gets to the patient? How do they learn to use it? There's just no awareness until you need it in your home. You don't have an appreciation for what a difference that makes in people's lives.
Exactly.
Definitely. All right, we are on to our last question, and I am going to ask each of you to answer this one. So, this one is, what's one piece of advice that you have for women in our audience who are striving to be successful in this home medical equipment industry? And we will start with Sherry.
Okay. I would say this industry can go 24/7, does go 24/7. And you really have to take care of yourself. So taking care of yourself helps you take care of your patients and your staff. So really, really focusing on making sure that you're doing things for yourself, maybe getting outside in nature. I know for me, that's a huge thing, helps me reconnect and just feel at peace. You don't want to get burnt out. So whatever you need to do again for that work hard, play hard scenario would be my advice. You have to recharge to do this well and do it all the time. My favorite quote by one of my favorite women is, "Don't ever let anyone leave you without feeling better or happier." And I think making sure you're happy and able to do that for other people is the most important thing.
Great advice. Thank you. All right. And we're going to just move right over to Sheila. What's your advice?
I always say, keep in mind that we're doing this for our parents, for our kids, for our, aunts, uncles, neighbors, friends, family. So we're, keep advocating, keep making sure that people understand what our industry does and how we help those people is very important. And that better outcome, staying at home, helping that, and learning how to advocate for that, I think is something that you can benefit from.
Yeah. Important work that we're doing. People are counting on us. That's
Mhm.
great. Great advice. All right. Dahlia, we'll move to you. What's your piece of advice?
Don't take no for an answer. Speak up. I say for decades, women have been managing and running businesses, organizations, homes from behind the scenes. So I say it's time to get from behind the desk, behind the phone, behind the camera, and get on the front line, and don't accept no for an answer. If the patient needs it, if it's something that is medically needed, if there's a reason for something to happen, then speak up. And don't let yourself be stifled by anybody or anything, because the only way that we're going to make changes is by not giving up and continuing to push. I think the reason we've come such a long way in HME and have gained such strides against such hurdles, it's because of the defined attitude of, no, you guys have to hear us out. This is the patients that are being impacted and why we need to do this. And so that would be my greatest piece of advice. Don't take no for an answer.
I love it. Fierce advocacy. I think that's great. Wonderful advice for everybody. Definitely. All right, Erin, how about you?
My biggest piece of advice would be to be a problem solver, bring solutions to the table. Don't just talk about what the problems are. Be prepared to talk about what solutions you have that you can suggest, or what you've seen, whether it's someone out on the front line, someone in the back office. I love to hear ideas and solutions from our staff, our team, because they're the ones that are in the thick of it every day, and we do get our best ideas from them. So don't be afraid to speak up and be proactive, take risks, and of course always trust your instincts, because women have great instincts.
Great advice. Great advice. And I think that's yes, something that everybody can do. And I think that one of the things that we embrace here is if you see something that you think can be better, we have a real open door, transparent policy that even if it's not your area, it's not your expertise, we still expect people to say, hey, what about this? I noticed this thing. And I think it's really great to encourage that. You sometimes have to train yourself to be brave and make a suggestion that's maybe not in your wheelhouse, but I think that's wonderful advice. Well, ladies, I thank you so much for sharing your insights with such candor with us this morning. I know that I've got some great takeaways and some podcasts and some pieces of advice that I can implement later, and I'm sure that our audience does as well. Sharing your experience and your advice really helps each of us continue to improve our leadership skills. VGM created this award, like Mike said, the HME Woman of the Year award 7 years ago to highlight the accomplishments of women in this industry because our CEO felt that women's achievements often went unrecognized. So, in addition to championing this award, VGM has made great strides in empowering our own women here in our organization. Like I said, I'm proud to be an employee owner here at VGM for more than 20 years. And I can tell you that recognition and opportunity for women has come an incredibly long way since I first started all those many years ago. So I'd like to share with all of you this great story of VGM's advancement of women in the workplace.
We organized a group called Women in Leadership in 2016 and started small. Progress over perfection has always been our approach, and really sort of joined a small group of women together and went through a year-long program of networking and education and support.
As a woman in the workplace, I am so proud that within VGM Group, we have so many other women in leadership roles that they afford and provide support and guidance, informal mentorship opportunities. And I really credit those women, those individuals, to helping me grow within the organization. I've gotten to the career point that I'm at today.
What a great program to give women the opportunity to spend time together, learning from each other, learning from other female leaders in the community. What I got out of it the most was the connections from fellow employees.
When I started here, it looked very different than it does today. There was primarily male leaders in all roles, all levels. And now when you look at our leadership, it's much more diverse. And that's really meaningful to me as a young leader in the company and a young female.
It's the right thing to do to recognize women of all levels within an organization. Specifically here at VGM, 2/3 of our company is women. Only about 1/3 are in management. So that really felt like an opportunity to close that gap.
Being an alumni of the Women in Leadership program, I'm fortunate that I'm able to tap into the relationships that I formed during our time as a group together. I know that they've been through a similar scenario. I'm able to lean on those individuals and the relationships formed, and it's been a really positive impact in my ability to lead the team.
I myself am a mentor. I'm able to guide people into those positions they strive to be in the future and learn different things about leadership, but also VGM values that I also would like to move up eventually. So I'm also a mentee. So I have the opportunity to meet with those that are, above me or been here longer, that have those characteristics that I don't have, or, those techniques that I would love to learn.
When it comes to empowering and promoting women in the workplace, several years ago, I read an article about what keeps women back from leadership, or what holds women back from leadership. And the article really focused on how women compete with each other in the workplace. But I think as women, we have to stop competing and recognize that we're all part of a team. We're all on the same ladder, and that seeing another woman be successful or get a promotion or take on additional responsibility is really good for everyone in the company. It's really good for all the women in the company, and it doesn't have to be a competition amongst the women.
I have a tendency to sit back a little more and observe and try to get a feel for the situation, and I'm constantly being pushed to don't sit in the back seat, put yourself out there, say something. And I have a pretty good intuition about things, and so someone was like, put some action behind what you think, behind what you're feeling, what you're observing right now. Put some action towards that, and I think you'd be really surprised at how successful you could be. You have to take care of you to be the best person you can be at work. And this is probably the first place I've worked where I felt like somebody acknowledged that.
I think the future of VGM is bright. Women they're at the table already. We're gonna continue to have a seat at the table. One day I think we'll see women on our board. That will be a very meaningful event when that happens. I think that we are making great strides. While progress takes time, we do measure our progress, and we are seeing that gap shrinking now. We're seeing that more and more women are getting promoted into manager and leader positions, and even more are even becoming VPs.
Right away, when I started engaging with other leaders within VGM, I could see that there were other women present at the table, which I appreciated. I could see that they had placed a value and a priority on promoting women within VGM. And we've also heard some amazing statistics since joining VGM about the opportunity to change careers, change divisions of VGM, move around within the company as those leadership opportunities become available. And so as I look forward to the future of my role and others within Two Rivers Marketing being part of the VGM family, I just see it as a ton of opportunity and a ton of areas for growth.
There's all kinds of ways to get involved in the company. And for me, I think the more you're involved and the more you're seen, the more opportunity people have to get to know you and know how you work and your style, and the more you get to learn.
I think others can help promote and empower each other within the workplace by just cheering each other on. Always give compliments, always give thank yous when it's deserved. It might seem very small to tell someone how much what they did meant to you, but it goes a long way.
So I think how anyone can help and what anyone could do is really just reach out and be an ally to support a female in the workplace, and actually support anyone who may be experiencing a barrier to inclusion. You see opportunities everywhere to be an ally for people, but if you can be an ally, a mentor, a coach, a friend to women, I promise you we need them.
All right. Welcome back. And it is now the time we've all been waiting for, the time to announce the 2022 HME Woman of the Year. So, congratulations this year to Sherry Krug.
Congratulations.
Yay.
When I met Sherry, we were in Washington, D.C., and this lady comes and sits down. Somebody else wanted to be a patient advocate and go to Washington and talk about what we do for patients. And people like her don't sit around and wait for something to happen. They go out and make it happen. And I knew right then we needed somebody like her on our team.
Sherry really works very closely with our Essentially Women division, and she really focuses on Congress and senators in her area to let them know what is going on and how important this is for people in their community. And that's a passion that Sherry has and really drives that thoroughly.
Well, the biggest thing that Sherry brings to our industry is that she's focused upon outcomes. She wants to see these patients improve.
So we really talked a lot in the respiratory space. How could we help keep them in their home, keep them out of the hospital?
She has many skills, but I believe that her fierce advocacy for her patients, her staff, and the company make her exceptional at her job.
Sherry is fantastic in empowering her teammates to get the job done.
She has a way with the people she works with. She doesn't overpower them, she empowers them.
She really wants to see you do your best, and she's going to give you every opportunity to do so.
So I think the work with Sherry helps VGM and Benson's come together, whether it's for advocacy or whether it's for building different programs to help people in their community.
Sherry does not like attention or accolades. She prefers to get the job done behind the scenes.
Sherry is the exact person in the exact right spot to position Benson's for another 70 years of patient care.
I would like to congratulate Sherry on this prestigious award. It is well deserved.
Well, congratulations, Sherry. And what great comments that Bob and Dave and Jerry had to share about your work in the industry. And I'm so glad that we were able to bring you out from behind the scenes to enjoy some spotlight for all of this great work that you've been doing. Any thoughts that you'd like to share with our audience this morning?
Well, Bob's right. It is hard for me to get attention, so bear with me, but it's just such an honor to see that. And I love all of those guys, and I've worked with them for years, and it's just, this is beyond any expectation I had. Thank you for even thinking of me, and the women that were here today are just out of this world. So that makes us even more special. And working at Benson's has just been a joy, and I plan to stay here for maybe not 70 years, but as long as I can. Thank
I love
you.
it.
Thank
Yes,
you so much.
yes. Well, thank you and congratulations again. And thanks to all of you who joined us online this morning. I appreciate your attendance and joining in the celebration with us. And I'm going to turn it over to our president of VGM and Associates and VGM Fulfillment, Jeremy Stoltz, to close us out for the morning.
Thanks.
Congratulations, Sherry, for winning this prestigious award, and congratulations to all our finalists for this amazing achievement. The people who have had the honor of working with you know the talent and business intelligence you bring to the industry. There are so many brilliant, insightful, and passionate women who surround us every day. Narrowing down the finalist list and selecting the winner is becoming more and more difficult every year. As Mike Malero said earlier in the program, we are honored for the opportunity to shine a light on these inspiring and deserving individuals. I'd like to end this year's ceremony with a challenge. As you work your way through 2023, I challenge you to give more thought to the individuals that drive the success of your business. Think about the people that really make a difference in the lives of your patients and keep a list of their names. And next year, when we call for nominations for the Woman of the Year Awards, get that list out and see how many of those star performers are women. I'll bet some of the names will come as no surprise to you, and they too will be deserving of our respect, admiration, and honor. On behalf of VGM, thank you for joining us, and I look forward to seeing all of you next year.